Hello everybody, this is Stuart, bringing you another video from Star Wars The Old Republic. Today my guild Echoes is in the Eternity Vault operation, and we are fighting against Soa, who is the 5th and final boss in the operation. Soa is a 5-phase fight. Here you will see us in the first phase on a platform. We group up in this spot because although I think there is a little bit of splash damage, which means more healing, you will not have to move if you plant in this spot. And what I mean by that is in the background there you'll see these two green slime circles getting spawned around pillars on the exterior, and they can also spawn in that interior circle as well. If you stand in those, they do a significant amount of damage. And from what I've found, if you stand in this little spot right here, they'll be right between the circles, and therefore DPS won't have to move, meaning you can get through the first phase a little faster. Technically speaking, the timing with which you get through the first phase doesn't matter a whole lot. There's not going to be a hard enrage timer from beginning to end. But anyway, you'll see we pushed him far enough that the first phase is ending. He will give an emote saying, "I have waited 20,000 years and I will wait no longer." He'll put up his shield, and that's when you need to get to the outside of the circle. You're going to want to go to the west side of that of the circle and group up, and then you'll start doing this drop down process, and this is the second phase. Once you drop down to this second platform, you can heal up. It's very important that you kill the little pillars on each platform as you go down, because it takes a buff away from him that increases the damage that he does, that Soa does. After the second platform, after you're healed up there will be a third platform that drops behind the second platform. Drop to that one, then keep going down, and you can stop again and heal up here at the sixth platform. I should mention that there are a couple different paths you can take down to the bottom, but this is just the one that we happen to use first and seemed to be easiest for us. After spending a little time here healing up, another platform will drop basically straight ahead, continuing along the path that you were just coming down. There it goes. And from here, it's basically a continuous run to the third phase, which is another platform level. Again, you're going to want to keep killing the little lantern, pillar, tower things on each platform as you go down. Here we're landing on the second platform. You're going to want to heal up here, as Soa will be coming down again shortly, and the second phase will begin. In my opinion, the second phase, this third phase, and the transition to the fourth is probably the most difficult part of the encounter. During this third phase, he's going to be in the middle of the platform again. There's going to be a couple new mechanics, though, that are different from the first phase. First of all, he's going to occasionally randomly pick up one person into the air, whirl them around the room, slamming them into the columns around the exterior of the room, and then eventually slamming them down in the middle. That will probably take off around half of a person's health, so it's important to make sure people are continuously topped off during the fight. The other mechanic is that he will spawn these lightning balls, and each lightning ball will be targeting one random person in the raid. As of 1.1, it will actually announce who those lightning balls are targeting. The easiest way that we found to deal with those was to have the people that are targeted actually run into them and explode the balls. If you are not the person that the ball is targeting, and you run near those balls, it will tick for about 2 to 3k per tick. And when it explodes, when the person who it's targeting gets near it, it will explode for approximately 2/3 of that person's health. Another important thing about those lightning balls is that you want to make sure that they don't get into the middle of the room, because when that person that's gotten picked up in the air gets slammed down, you don't want that person taking additional damage from the lightning ball, because that will pretty much definitely kill that person. A couple things that I would recommend for this fight is that you max out your camera zoom distance, which you can do in your user preferences. Also, you're going to want to put on enemy nameplates, which I actually don't have on for this pull, but if you have on enemy nameplates, you can see those balls a little bit easier. You'll notice that after they explode, they still linger a little bit there. They're not moving, but they do still show a graphic. We initially had tried to just kite them until they despawned, but actually what we were finding was that they would despawn, but they would not despawn. They would just go invisible and still keep chasing that person and then explode when they hit them. And if you have enemy nameplates on, you can actually see that. The graphic will disappear, but the enemy nameplate will still be there chasing the person who's targeted. Another thing about this phase is that there's going to be mine traps spawned randomly. You can see one just spawned there on the left side. When these spawn, all the DPS needs to switch to those immediately and kill them as soon as possible. the mine trap will pull in a random member, and you'll go into kind of another room where there'll be like a ghost of Soa, and you're stuck there basically until the mine trap is killed. So and furthermore, if that mine trap isn't killed quickly, you can have multiple people stuck in those. So it's important to kill it as quickly as possible. You can just see there that those two balls just spawned next to each other on the outside of the room. When you're killing the mine traps, you want to be cognizant of where those balls are coming from, because I know at least once we had a mine trap that was actually between two pillars, and we had two lightning balls spawn on either side. Here you can see we finally pushed him. It's extremely important to time when you push him into the next phase, because you do not want somebody being whirled around in the air, because it will actually drop them right into the middle where there is nothing to land on, and they'll fall and die. It's not as big of a deal if you have somebody in a mine trap, because they should come out of the mine trap on the outside, which should give them time to get around to the outside and group up and start falling down again. But again, this is the fourth phase, and it's pretty much identical to the second phase. Only reason it's a little bit harder is that you're coming in with a little bit less control from that difficult third phase. You'll see we actually lost one of our players there and had to bat res him on the first or second platform, but we recovered, and this is actually one of the first times that we got into the fourth and eventually fifth phase with a pretty full group. You're pretty much going to need to have your full team just to meet the DPS requirements in the fifth phase. Again, the platform pattern is the same. You can heal up on the second and sixth platforms, and then after that you'll just run and keep falling and get all the way down to the bottom on the ground. Occasionally, if somebody dies up above on a platform, the platforms will start disappearing and you can fall down, and sometimes the corpse will land. We found that generally when the corpse would land on this very bottom area, we could not bat res them, but I think maybe once we could, so that's something to be aware of, and you don't necessarily need to call a wipe immediately if somebody dies up above. So we'll come down now, and the mechanic of this part is that he'll have a shield, and while he has his shield up, he'll basically be immune to damage. You can see kind of along the wall there are these pillars. If I ever pan my camera up again, there are kind of these pillars with kind of a yellow middle, and every once in a while he'll pull one out, and it will essentially start to move towards a spot in the room. It will get inverted. There you can see the pillars, and the first one is in the top middle there. The tank needs to kite Soa to the where the column is going to land, because when it crashes down, if he's under it, it'll knock his shield off, and this is the only way you can do damage to him during this phase. DPS needs to line up their cooldowns. I think it would be incredibly helpful to pop adrenals. One reason that our guild has been maybe having a tougher time with these DPS requirements than some other guilds is that we actually don't have an Imperial Agent in our raid, which means we're lacking that 5% crit buff, which is kind of a big deal. So, also in this fifth phase, lightning balls will continue to spawn around the exterior of the room. Sometimes, I think at least for the first time that Soa is down and without a shield, the lightning balls will spawn at about the same time, so the raid members just need to be aware that those are coming to them and try not to worry about popping them until after he's shielded again, just to maximize the DPS time. Again, you can see I get pulled into a mine trap here, so this is kind of a shot of what it looks like. You can interrupt his heals. I believe he's stunnable. I can't remember on hard mode if you could actually stun him. I know on normal mode you could. Basically, you just need to, you can try to kill him if you like, but basically just wait until the mine trap gets popped and then you can run out. You can see there that I had a ball chasing me, so I popped it, healing back up. Soa's down. If there's a mine trap up and Soa is without a shield, you definitely want to focus on Soa and take his life down, because the way that the enrage works in this fifth phase is you only get a certain number of pillars before he will go crazy and just start one-shotting whoever he's targeting, essentially. This is not exactly the cleanest first kill you'll ever see. We got pretty lucky and had a great couple of sorcerers in tandem do a good job of finishing him off. This is the time when we needed to kill him. I believe that he's enraged here. You can see him kind of glowing red, so we really wanted to kill him here, and as you'll see, we don't quite get him. We were kind of over by the mine trap and not in position to start DPSing right when that shield came down, which was a mistake. He has about 6k health left at this point, I believe. And our tank's popping cooldowns. We're trying to spam heals on him, but if I recall correctly, he just doesn't quite make it. We almost had him to that pillar, but I was going to run over and try to life grip somebody into that pillar, but instead I stood under the pillar and just got myself killed, which was pretty dumb. That's another thing to notice, that if you are standing under that pillar, you're going to take a pretty significant amount of damage. So melee DPS, when the tank is kiting him to a pillar, need to be cognizant of that and not stand under the pillar. As you'll see here, we should have, looks like we have 2 sorcerers and I believe a bounty hunter healer still up. He got kind of weird here and was evading for a second, but never really reset. I don't know if he was trying to hit the person that was in a mine trap or what the deal was, but eventually he'll kind of pop out of it, start chasing our sorcerer healers around, or not healers, sorcerer DPS around. And they were able to kite him for long enough, and then you sprint, and you'll see the next pillar coming out. So here comes Annex sprinting around the outside, and just barely gets him into position so that that pillar knocks him down. It kills Annex, but Spectre X is still up and was able to knock off the remaining 6k of his health. And we were all freaking out, but there you can see he falls over. Very close, but it was a win. We'll take it.